And welcome to the Barry Foster Show. This is our first episode from the beautiful Ridge Florist Studios in downtown Avon Park. Sandra's with me. I thought we'd do the first one, a Florida Fun Travel episode, because many go to the FloridaFunTravel.com and see Sandra and our trips around the Sunshine State. We stay different places, try different attractions, eat different places, and kind of blog where we've been. Our most recent fun trip was up north of Lake Wales to CherryPocket, and we'd been up there before with our friends Beth and Ed, right?
Yes.
And it's nestled up there just north of Lake Wales on the shores of Lake Pierce. And
we went at night that time, so you really couldn't see a lot of the scenery that we were able to see this time as we traveled up there.
Yeah, it has grown a lot since the first time I was there, like almost 50 years ago, and it has grown quite a bit up there. They've got outside deck. They've got live entertainment most of the time. We sat inside, and like another place we'd gone, it no longer exists down in Yeehaw Junction, the Desert Inn. The inside of CherryPocket is covered with dollar bills, and if you want to staple a dollar bill up, our waitress was the lovely Summer, who brought us a staple gun and a pen, a Sharpie. So I wrote FloridaFunTravel.com, and so if you want to go to our table, you'll see the dollar bill there. It says FloridaFunTravel.com. But it's quite a little trip up there.
Yes, that was part of the fun of it, was going up that way and seeing all the different things, especially since our friend had not been in that way.
Gina Smith from Lakeview Memorial Gardens. We purloined her for her lunch hour, and she signed out. And it for us from Sebring, it was about a 40-minute trip. It was, but we went up. We took the back way. We went up through Frostproof, saw frostbite, which we'll talk about at another time. But waved as we went by. Went up through Lake Wales, and up north of Lake Wales, made a right. Went up to Lake Pierce and went in, and they had for a Friday afternoon, they had a big crowd.
It was pretty busy, and we were dining late for lunch.
Yeah, it was a late lunch. We thought we'd maybe outwait the lunch crowd and go up there, but inside I think what we call a funky atmosphere.
Rustic.
It was fun. There's an outdoor deck, and they had a troubadour, a guy with a guitar, playing some music while we were there. But they generally have some live music going on out in the outside area. Is more of a bar area, really. They have the bar out there. We were on the inside, and we went the whole gamut. I mean, we had we didn't take the tour till afterwards, but we had the appetizer, and if you like Florida cuisine, that's the place to go. They have what they call Creek Nuggets, and those are like little breaded nuggets. If you were at a fast food restaurant, they'd be like a chicken nugget, except these are gator and grouper and catfish, and they even have a cracker platter where you can get all their breaded fare. But we had the garlic cheese knots, which interestingly enough was Wisconsin cheese.
Garlic cheese curds.
That's right. You're right. Garlic cheese curds. And they weren't really garlicky. They were kind of garlicky, but they weren't real garlicky.
They were good.
They had a good little marinara sauce for dipping, and it was a good start. If we had gone at night, we could have had some of the entrees, but we opted for burgers. And
well, the reason we had a little appetizer was so we'd have time to look over the menu, since it was the first time Gina had been there, and the first time we'd been there for lunch. And the lunch menu is an abbreviated menu. It is not as big as the dinner one. And
well, Sandra's not a big fan of beef, but you had the shroom burger. But was there a lot of mushrooms on there for you?
It was a ground beef burger, but I was surprised that there was very few mushrooms as far as I was expecting.
Well, I had the All-American burger, and Gina had Jed's steak sandwich. I asked her if that was Jed Clampett, and she said no, it was a different Jed. But the it was very good, but the buns were like sweet. They were very. It was a very sweet tasting bread.
Yes, that was a surprising thing when you tasted it in the first. I wondered if it was the sauce on the burger, but it was the buns that were sweet. And the waitress was very nice and very patient and answered questions and didn't push.
Well, we told her we had not been there, for some time. So she gave us some time to look over the menu, and I noticed she had cherry earrings. They had little dangly cherry earrings, and I asked her if those cherries shouldn't be in her pocket. She said, "Well, she did have a cherry pocket key ring in her pocket, so she was dressed for the occasion." But she gave us plenty of time, and when we ask about stuff, it's nice to have a waitress who knows the menu. You know,
Yes.
nice to have somebody who can kind of explain what you're getting. And the thing that I liked about Cherry Pocket is that they had enough things on the menu that we'd like to go. You can kind of judge a restaurant sometimes as if they have something else you want to try and something else for you to go back again. So I can see us going back a couple, three, four more times.
Well, Gina remarked on how good the French fries were. They were nice and crisp and not real greasy and tasty.
They had a good breading. They had a good breading on them, and it was nice to have the music. The music was for us way in the background. It was way in the background, and the interior of the restaurant we kind of talked about was it's kind of funky. It reminds me of the old Desert Inn that unfortunately got destroyed down there in Yeehaw Junction. But they have dollar bills hanging on the wall, and if you want to sign a dollar bill and put it on the wall, uh, they brought. I asked Summer, and she said, "I'll be right back." She brought me a staple gun and a Sharpie, and apparently they've done it before because the staple gun has a little metal holster to hold the Sharpie, so they know that what's going to happen. And we put ours. I put tryfloridafun.travel.com, and I stapled it right by our table so it was easy to see. But people had them on the walls. They were on the little pillars. I mean,
The
I don't know how
ceiling
many.
rafters.
Oh man, they were just like everywhere. People would sign them, and there were little hearts from couples that had been there, and people put their cities of residence. It's a place where you can kind of walk around and take things in, see a lot of stuff there.
Well, you do have a view of the outside, and where we were sitting, you could kind of see the edge of the boat ramp, and it is very um, woodsy, like there were a lot of trees and a lot of nature around.
Well, Cherry Pocket actually started as a fish camp. And so there's a lot of very small trailers, some RVs parked back in there, and it's a place where people come to go fishing. So yes, there's a boat ramp there, and I did not realize it until we walked around later. Airplanes fly in there. There was a amphibious aircraft that was parked at the end of the deck back there, where someone had flown in and parked their aircraft and come in to eat. And I asked Summer if they came in. She says, "Yeah, all the time. They probably have 20 boat slips back in there." It was nice to see the folks who came from anywhere around the lake and parked their boat and came in to enjoy this fun little place. And I don't know. I think they've been there like 50 or 60 years.
If you go there for fishing to put your own boat in, they had a little box where you put the money for, they told you how much the fee was, then you put your money in the little box there and then put your boat in.
Yeah, it's a great little place, and they also are shameless in self promotion. One thing that Gina bought for us, and we found about our first time, was some cherry pocket salad dressing.
But if you remember, as we started to leave, I had told her about the cherry dressing, and none of us got salads for our meal. And so I asked her if we could have a little taste so that Gina could taste what the cherry dressing was. And she brought us a salad actually, and she said, "You really have to taste it on the lettuce and the tomatoes and whatever. So she brought a small salad, and we really all enjoyed having a bite of that. And then after that, Gina did go. We went into the little shop next door, and she bought a bottle of it. They used to have it in fruit jars and sell it that way. And they said they sell so much of it, they're now bottling it actually in what you would see in most dressing bottles.
Yeah, what do you call that? That a ramekin? Is that what you call it? I'd expected just a little tub full of it. Stick your finger in, stick your fork in. But Summer was very. She brought us. She says you really have to try it on a salad. So she brought us a side salad, and by the way, at no additional charge, just so we could try it. And we got apparently. Gina said that she bought the last two bottles. So they had to go open a new case after we bought. So that it sells pretty well out there. In addition to that, they have it's a wonderful little gift shop. They have hats, they have keychains, they have refrigerator magnets, they have shirts, all kinds of cherry pocket memorabilia. If you want to kind of say that you've been there, we took a little while and walked around in there. And they had some gator back scratchers, all the real Florida kind of stuff in there.
Well, it is truly an experience that you wouldn't want to just go down there unless you had enough time to walk around and enjoy the atmosphere. It is one of those places to go on an afternoon, nice little trip and not be rushing back.
If we went at night, I noticed that there in front of the gift shop, there was a set of, if you've ever been to the Cracker Barrel, you know how they have the rockers? Well, these were just little Adirondack chairs, and they had a little fire pit in the middle. And I think that was for people to kind of wait around to have their name called.
And they actually were selling the chairs, and they had some high seats there as well.
Is that right?
But I think those were for sale. When we got there, while you were parking, Gina and I went in, and she asked if we wanted to sit inside or outside. And as it turns out, the outside is more like backyard picnic area. And after we looked at it, and it was a warm day, so we decided that we would probably rather be inside. So she was very generous and took us back in and seated us.
Yeah, well, you have to kind of get a feel of where you want to be during the evening. If you're there to kind of party and have some drinks and enjoy the music, then going out back is probably a good choice. We were there to just try some of the food and enjoy the air conditioning. And I was looking around there, and I saw they had this great neon light that had an alligator with a ball cap on, and it said Bud Light, which made me think of my friend Donnie Schaefer. So I took a picture of it, and I sent it over to Donnie and said, "I'm thinking of you, pal." And so it's a kind of a fun place to look around. They have old license plates on the wall. It's all of the tables also have different businesses lacquered into the top of the table. They're like they're bigger than a business card. Little advertisements of some of the local places that are lacquered in the top of the table. So it kind of gives you a feel of some of the businesses that are around the area as well.
And because we were there with a friend and just enjoyed sitting there talking, and even though they were fairly busy, nobody rushed us out or seemed to be pushing us to get through with it and get out of there.
Yeah, it was nice because it wasn't really loud in there, and you did have a time to have fellowship in there and just kind of talk and enjoy yourself. I mean, it's I think what they would call a laid back restaurant, where you can enjoy things. And sadly, they are really generous with their portions. So when it came time for dessert, I couldn't do any dessert, but they have some pretty good desserts in there. I understand. We may have to go back there of an evening and just go up and have some coffee and desserts up there. It might be a fun, and the trip up there is half the fun, really. The trip to go up there, we took the scenic highway up, so we went through the back roads. We went through Frostproof, went through Babson Park, went through Hillcrest Heights, went through Lake Wales, and then up through Lake Wales, and then we really didn't turn our Waze guidance system on until we got into Lake Wales.
Well, it definitely is an experience that would be fun with another couple or several of your friends go together and
Now,
go.
if you like seafood and you like Florida cuisine, that's a great place to go. And we have some of the salads. Like I want to try their Cobb salad. I want to try some of their other burgers. I really want to try Jed's Steak Burger that they have up there, and some of the other things. It's a fun trip, and it wasn't really expensive. I mean, it wasn't cheap, but it didn't break the bank either.
They also had the chowder and a lot of the things that people uh, like who enjoy seafood and fish.
Yeah, we were asking what the soup of the day was, hoping that it might be something a little more like vegetable or broccoli cheese, something like that. But it was seafood, and none of us on this trip, none of us were really seafood people, so it didn't matter. But I think the next time we go up, I may get some gator. I may try some gator. They have we tried the garlic cheese curds this time, and I may try some of the creek nuggets. I might try some of the gator nuggets and see what those taste like. You're not a big fan of that? No.
No, I I'm more vegetarian. If I went again, I would probably have one of their salads and
Well, you know what I always say. I'd rather eat gator than have the gator eat me. That's the way. But it was a fun trip to go up there. We can't recommend Cherry Pocket highly enough. You can go up on the web. You can find their menu up there. Find some pictures up there, and very quickly now we're going to post a review of Cherry Pocket on FloridaFunTravel.com. So this is our first episode up here in the Ridge Florist Studios, and I want to thank Nell Roberts for giving us the opportunity to set up a broadcast up here. And I want to thank my wife, Sandra, who's done an immense amount of work to make this look beautiful. It's coming together. It's looking better all the time, don't you think?
yes, it's definitely beginning to look good.
Well, hey, thank you, my dear. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for tuning in and hearing our first episode from the Ridge Florist Studios here in beautiful downtown Avon Park. And we'll see you again. Have a great day.